Hi all. In this lecture we will see about text files. So in Python we have inbuilt functions for creating, writing and reading files. So there are two types of files that can be handled with Python. First type is text files. That is ordinary text files. Whatever text material we want to write, we can write it in the text file. So the characteristic of text files in Python is each line of text is terminated with a special character called end of line character, and in the case of Python, this end of line character is a new line character or the /n character. So it is by default it is /n. And in the case of binary files, second type of file is binary files. Binary files, there won't be any terminating character, and the data is stored after converting it into machine understandable binary language. So in this lecture we will see about text files, how to create text files, how to read, how to write text files. Everything will be covered in this lecture. So before going into that, we will see file access modes. So file access modes, by access modes we mean the access mode govern the type of operations possible in the open file. So if you open a file, what all type of operations is permissible in that file is determined by this access mode. It refers to how the file will be used once it is opened, and it defines the location of the file handle in the file, and so it also defines the location of the file handle. File handle means it's like a cursor where that position will be. If we try to write something, from where that file writing will happen, whether it starts from the first line or whether it starts from the second line, like that. So it is determined by the file handle. So file handle, it is like a cursor which defines from where the data has to be read or written in the file. So there are 6 access modes in Python. We will see each access mode. So there are different access modes in Python. Mainly we have 6 access modes in the case of text files. So first one is read-only mode. It is denoted by small letter R. So if we open a file using R, it means that it is open only for reading purpose. We can only read from that. So handle is positioned at the beginning of the file. So if it is read mode, the handle is positioned at the beginning of the file. And if the file does not exist, then it raises an IO error will be raised. And default mode in which file is opened is using this R mode. If we are not specifying any access mode and if we are opening the file, then it will by default it will be in the read-only mode. Then second access mode is R+ mode. We call it as read and write mode. Read and write mode. So it is read and write mode means it is open a file for reading and writing purpose, and the handle is positioned at the beginning of the file. So a handle or the cursor is positioned at the beginning of the file. Raises IO error if the file does not exist. Then third mode is read-only mode. Write-only mode. That is W. It is open the file for writing purpose only. For existing file, the data is truncated and overwritten. That is, the cursor will be positioned at the first position. If something is written on that file, everything will be deleted. The previous file, if there is an existing file, that data will be deleted and it will be overwritten. So handle is positioned at the beginning of the file. If it is W, then it is positioned at the beginning of the mode. Creates a file if the file does not exist. Then fourth access mode is write and read mode. That is W+ mode. So here it is open the file for reading and writing. For existing file, data is truncated and overwritten. The handle is positioned at the beginning of the file. It's similar to W. Okay. Then for fifth type of access mode is append-only mode. Here it is open the file for writing. It is for writing purpose only. We are opening this file. File is created if it does not exist. handle is positioned at the end of the file. So that is the difference between W mode and A mode. If it is append mode, we will be the handle is positioned at the end of the mode. That means if we are writing something, it will be added to the end. The whole thing that is there in the file will remain as such. So data return will be inserted at the end after the existing data. Then there is append and read mode, that is A plus mode. So it is we open the file for reading and writing. Here file is created if does not exist. Handle is positioned at the end of the file. Data being written will be inserted at the end after the existing data. So we will see one by one how to open a file. Opening a file, we have an open function is there, and here no module is required to be imported. So this is the syntax for that. File object equal to open. We will see why this R is required. Or in double quotes we will use file name, comma, and double quotes we have to write the access mode, whether it is W, read, or mode or everything. We will see an example, then you will understand this thing. So here we are opening a file. So in the append mode. So we are opening a file. We can open in any mode. So we are using A. So this is append mode. So we can use this open function, and in this open function we have to give a name for that file. So myfile.txt, and it is written in double quotes. Okay. So what it does is it opens a file, and this is the file handle. Okay. And if it is append mode, it means if the file is not existing, so we will check whether it is existing or not. So it will be created in this directory itself. In this directory itself, it will be created. We will check for the text files. So if we check that there is no only two text files are there, that is license and news. So there is no file name called myfile.txt in this current directory. And we can see this. There is another file too is there. We are opening another file, and here we are not specifying R. So if we check the original syntax, there is an R here. Okay. So there is an R here. After that, only double quotes begin. So here, in this case, we are not specifying that R. But in this case, we are specifying this R, and we are giving a different folder. So we are trying to create a file inside D drive. And inside D drive, there is a temp folder, and we are trying to create it inside the temp folder. We are creating a file name called myfile2.txt, and mode is write and read mode. So we are creating in different mode. Why this R is used is, if you are not using this R, then an error can occur, because we have already studied /n/t and all. Here, if you see, there is a /t like this, it will come, and the interpreter will mistakenly take it as a tab character /t. So, and it returns an error. So if I will show that, so I am avoiding this, and I am saving it, and I am running this program. So there is an error. So there is an OS error because the /t occurs. Okay. So in order to avoid that, we usually do this R. So if we give this R, then there won't be any problem. So if you run this program, you can see that there is no problem. It has compiled it correctly, and it has run. So what it does is, we have simply opened two files. So it is in append mode. Since it is in append mode, if that file is not existing, what it does, it creates that file. We will see that whether that file has been created in that folder. We will check for text files. So if you see this, there is a myfile.txt file is there. If you open that, there won't be anything because we have not written anything. So, and it is in the append mode. So there is nothing, no data inside this myfile.txt. And we have created another file called open, and it is created inside D folder. So if you check that D folder, so this is a D folder, and this is a temp directory. So inside this we have created myfile.t.txt, and it is in. So there is nothing inside this file. We have not written anything. So we have simply opened that file in some mode. Okay. So this is how we can open this file. So this is how opening the file. So we have to create an object, file object equal to open. If we are giving a different folder, we have to use this R. Otherwise, there is no need for this R. You can simply mention in double quotes the name of that file, and comma and access mode should be mentioned. Then closing a file. So here we use the close function to close the file. What it does is it frees the memory space acquired by that file. So used at the time when the file is no longer needed, or if it is to be opened in a different file mode. So we have to simply use file object dot close. So if we check the same program, so this is a program we have already seen, we have simply opened. So this is not good. It should not be. It's not a good practice to open a file and leave as such. So after finishing everything, what we have to do is we have to simply close all those files. If there are several files, you have to close all those files. So if we have already seen in the case of when we studied exception handling, if there is some resource that is open, then I have mentioned that if we are opening a file, then you should close that file also. Otherwise, the problem is some other program tries to access the same file, some error can occur. So it's a good practice that we should always close that file. Then only that memory will be freed. So if you close that, nothing will happen. It simply closes that file. We have opened that, we have closed that file. So we have to close each and every file we use. So this way we can close that file. Then next is writing to a file. How to write something to a file? We have mainly two functions to write into a file. One is write function. So it inserts the string str1 in a single line in the text file. So if you are giving like this, a file object dot write of str1, then that str1 will be written to that particular file. Only a single line of that text file will be written to that file. str1 is the text matter that we are writing. Then there is write lines is there. So in write lines, it is used for for a list of string elements. Each string is inserted in the text file. Used to insert multiple strings at a single time. So this is the syntax for that file object dot write lines function, and inside that L is specified, and L is actually a list. So it is a list of strings. So we can insert a list of strings into that file. So you will see an example, then you will understand this write and write lines. So we have opened a file myfile.txt in write mode, and we have a list of elements, strings. So this is Delhi is one string, then this is Paris is another string, and this is London is another string. So we have three strings inside this list, and /n is also there, which is placed. We have already mentioned after each text line inside a text file, after each line there should be a /n character. That's why we have placed a /n at the end of every text. Then what we are doing is file1.write hello. We are using another write function, and we are writing hello here. So hello will be written to this myfile.txt. Okay. Then after that we are writing file1.write lines of L. So the whole list, all these three strings will be written to this file. After that we are closing this. So first you will see only the first write thing. So we will see the first write thing. So we are opening a file. So we are writing F file. So it is run properly. Now we will check the file now. We will open it and see. So if you check the text file, there is myfile.txt, and if you see that, hello will be written there. So hello will be written inside that. So hello has been written inside that thing. Now we are uncommenting this. So we have file1.write lines. So all these three strings should be written after hello. So if you run this program, and if you open this file, So if you open this file, you can see that the whole 3 strings will be written. So since /n is there, this second string will be written here, and after that there is a /n, like this there will be. Okay, there is a space also here because we have left a space before /n. There is a space here, so that is also written in the file. So all these spaces are also written in this file. So this way we can write. So if you want to write something, we have to open in write mode. Then we can write using write function. So if the write function writes a single string, you have to mention something in double quotes. If it writes lines, you can use the list. So all the list of strings will be written inside that. So that is about writing to a file. Then reading from a file. So if you want to read something from that file, what you have to do? So for that we have read function. So this is a syntax file object dot read of n. So what it does is it returns the read bytes in the form of a string. It returns the bytes. N is the number of bytes. So it reads n bytes. If no n specified, reads the entire file. So if you are specifying this n is actually optional. We can simply mention read. So if we simply mention read, then the whole file will be read. If you are not mentioning that, if you are mentioning that n, then only those n bytes will be read. Okay. So you know about byte and all. 8 bits make 1 byte. So then we have a read line function is there. So this is a syntax read line of n. Here also n is optional. So here reads a line of the file and returns in form of a string. Okay. So it will return a line of the file and returns in the form of a string. So for specified n, reads at most n bytes. So if you are specifying n as 2, only 2 bytes will be output. Does not read more than 1 line. Here read line means only single line will be read. Even if n exceeds the length of the line, only 1 line will be output. Then there is another function called read lines is there. So read lines is file object dot read lines, and it reads all the lines and returns them as each line a string element in a list. So we will see an example for this one. So we will use the same program here. Now I will uncomment all these lines. So we have used the same program. So we have already seen, we have written something onto that file. Okay, we have written hello, and after that we have written, total there are 4 strings in that file. Now we have closed that file also. So for reading, we have to open that file. So we have to open that file using R+. So it is a read and write mode. So we are opening it as a read R+ mode. Then we are simply printing output of the read function is, and what we are doing, we are using the first function, read function. So we are using the read function here. Okay. So we will uncomment the rest of the lines. We will see what happens inside this thing. Okay. So we'll run this program. So we are simply opening that file and we are using this read function. So if we run this program, we can see that the whole file will be read. Hello, then all the 4 strings will be output for the read function. So if you are simply using read, the whole file will be output. Now we will use the read line function. Now before that, what we are doing is we are using the seek function. So seek of n function is there. What it does is takes a file handle to the nth byte from the beginning. So if you are using 0, it will be positioned to the first position, 0th position. That is the first position of the file. For that we can use the seek function. Okay, file1.seek. So it means it is to position the handle to the 0th position. If we give 5, then it will be positioned to the 5th position. So we are simply using 0 here. And we are using the read line function. So read line function is used here. Now we will see what happens. So this is the output of read function, and this is the output of read line function. So read line function, it will output only a single line. Only one line will be output. Hello, only hello will be output. So in the case of read function, all the 4 strings will be output. In the case of read line, only a single line of text will be output. So that's the difference between read and read line. Now again we will position, and now we are using another function. Now what we are doing is we are again seeking it to the 0th position. After that, again we are using, sorry, this is not one. Okay, again we are positioning it to the 0th position. After that, what we are doing is we are giving a value 9 to that. We are giving a value inside a read function. So we have already mentioned that read will give all the thing, and 9 is an optional number of bytes. So only 9 bytes will be read here. So if you run this program, so this is a read function, this is read line function, and if you give read of 9, then 9 bytes will be output. So 9 bytes will be output. So 9 bytes will be up to th. So up to th it will be 9 bytes. So the rest of the thing will be avoided. So we have mentioned 9 here. That's why only 9 bytes will be output. Now again we will do the same thing for the read line function. Okay, now we will again do it for the read line function. So we are again positioning it to the 0th position, seeking it to the 0th position. Then we are giving a read line of 9. Instead of read 9, we are giving read line of 9. So what happens is, so if we check for read 9, it is hello there. And for in the case of read line, even though we have asked to read 9 bytes, it will read only a single line. Even if it exceeds, actually the 9 bytes means we have to read the second line also. But read line function outputs only a single line. So if you are giving 9, then only the first line will be output, even though it goes to the second line. Okay. So if you want, you can check with a different number. If you are giving read line of 2, then only 2 bytes will be output. So only HE will be output. Okay. So if you are giving 25 and all, it means all the lines should be read. Actually 25 bytes means almost all the lines should be read. But read line will output only a single line. Okay. So that is the read line. Then again we are removing this comment. Now we are again seeking it. What we are doing here is we are using read lines function. Instead of read line, we are using the read lines function. Now we will check the output. So if you check the output, then you can see that read line function, the output will be a list of lines. We will get the list. The whole text will be given as a list. So it will be hello /n. So all the /n will also be there. The space, the /n, everything will be there, and it will return as a list here. So read line function returns as a list. So that's the difference between read line and read lines. Okay. So that's what we have written here. Read lines, all the lines are written them as each line a string element in a list. So it will return as a list. Then we will see appending to a file. So we have already seen writing. Writing starts with the beginning of the file, at the beginning of the file. Here append is different from writing. So if we see this, we have a file name open. We have opened a file, milefile.txt in write mode, and we have a list. Already we have seen this thing, and we are writing this into that write lines, and we are closing that file. Then after that, we are reading that file again. Output of the file after reading. So we are simply checking it. We can read those lines here. I'll just put it inside a comment. Okay, just to see what happens here. Okay, so I am just doing only these things. So if I output, you can see that output of read lines is all the 3 strings have been entered in the text file. So my file text contains these 3 text files. Now I am trying to append this. So append adds to the at the last. So we are opening the file in append mode A. So we have given the A and we are writing it. Now I'll comment this thing and I'll be writing today into that string. So if you are using this append mode and if you are performing it right, we will see that so output will be okay. I'll open it and so already I have seen. Okay, I'll open the file and check it. It will be better. So if you open the text file, so if you can open the text file, you can see that today is also written at the end. So if you are using append mode, then writing happens from after the previous location. So after London, it will happen in the next line from today. So if you are using the write mode instead of write mode, so if you are, for example, if you are doing the same thing and you are using in double mode, and if you are writing this thing, you can check that thing. So what happens is, you will open that file and see. So if you open that file, text file, you can see that text file only today will be written. So it will delete all the things. So that's the difference between append mode and write mode. So we will see the whole example here. Now I'll remove all these comments here. Okay. So what we are doing is we are opening in append mode and we are writing today into that file. After that again we are reading that mode and we are using read lines. Then we are closing it again. Again what we are doing is we are using opening in W mode and we are writing tomorrow into that and we are closing it, and after that again we are using read lines. So we will run this program and see that. So if you run this program, so output of read lines after writing it, we will get the whole 3 strings. Then what we are doing appending. So appending, we are appending this today into that, and after that again what we are doing is we are writing, overwriting is done, W is done. So tomorrow will be written. So what happens is when we are opening in W mode, all the previous data will be lost. So only tomorrow will be there. All the previous will be overwritten. So that is the difference between append and W mode. Okay. So that is appending to a file. So this is a reference. Thank you.